What's going on, everyone? I'm just an average American here today to react and learn about 5 culture shocks in Canada. Culture shock. Culture shock is interesting. It's really only something you can experience and you will experience by moving to another nation, living in another country or something. I imagine people around the world experience massive culture shock when they come to America because it's kind of crazy here. But you get used to it. Heck, you might even learn to like it. But anyway, some things about culture as far as Canada goes, I'd be fascinated to hear about. Because culture shock is pretty interesting. It can be kind of funny, it can be kind of serious. So I'm really interested to hear from this individual his personal experience, I assume, living in Canada and the culture shock he experienced. Because it's really about living it. And that's when you really notice the little things where you're like, what the heck? Where maybe Canadians don't even realize it's so shocking to people, but someone who's moved there does. So it's quite fascinating, right? So let's take a look.
In this video, I'm going to talk about 5 things that shocks migrants when they come here to Canada. So
Okay.
let's go. Hey, if we haven't met, my name is Bernard, and I make videos about life in Canada as a migrant. So
Bernard. I wonder where Bernard is from. I don't recognize this accent very well. It's a little hard to pinpoint for me.
if there's something that interests you, make sure you stick around. When you come to Canada, you'll find yourself surrounded by this new culture every single day. Now,
Yes.
this could be a bad thing or a good thing.
Yeah, exactly. It's like some of the stuff about acclimating to a new culture. Some of it is like, oh, I hate this, and some of it's like, oh, this is awesome.
Depends which country you're coming from. Now, for those who don't
Right. It depends on which country you're coming from. Such good points. I imagine as an American going to Canada, I would be able to survive. I make it sound like some kind of crazy death-defying hellscape to survive in. No, it's actually quite nice in Canada, as I've seen. But coming from America, I think the culture shock would be there, but not like shattering my whole worldview. Like I wouldn't be able to wrap my head around maple syrup flavored stuff in a little snow. Or maybe, after a while, once you drink too much syrup, maybe you get some syrup madness, as they call it. No, I doubt that's what we're talking about here. But when you come from other parts of the world that aren't like America or Canada, I'm sure it's even more shocking, like anywhere would be.
know, culture shock refers to a feeling that people experience how they're trying to integrate into a new society. It
Yeah.
happens because you've been cut off from familiar things and social network that made you feel at home. So now you know.
Right.
Let's get right to it. Shock number 1, the price of goods and services in Canada.
The price of goods in Canada. I'm pausing it because I'm trying to think of, is he about to say he's shocked that the prices are so high, or that the prices are so low? I thought the prices in Canada were similar to America, just kind of normal prices. That's such a bad way to put it, because if you don't live in Canada or America, you have no idea what I'm talking about. But I didn't necessarily think Canada had crazy expensive stuff or cheap stuff. I thought it was just kind of similar.
In Canada, the price you see is not actually what you pay. Let me explain. The
Oh.
quoted price of goods and services are always net, and they don't include taxes. Sounds weird, right? In
Wait. Well, this is like America then, whereas basically everything you buy in America ever does not include sales tax or any other taxes that go along with that. So many things in America are priced to be like $5.99, $199, where they know that the tax is going to bring it up like an extra dollar or dollars. So they always price it like right under a whole number to make it sound super cheap. You buy something for $99 because because it sounds like so much less than 100. But yet then the tax brings it over $100. But Americans kind of expect that. And Canadians, I imagine, as well, expect the tax. But I could see where this could be pretty shocking if you come from a place where tax is, what, included up front? How would that work exactly?
Canada, they have PST and GST, depends which province you live. And
What, are these all types of sales tax? America has sales tax. It can be state tax, local taxes. There's a lot of taxes. At least that's one thing that's true about Earth. There's gonna be taxes.
Canada, they have PST and GST, depends which province you live.
Okay.
And all this is added at the end of checkout. Oh, by the way, make sure you check the description below because I'm gonna leave all these terms down in description below. So
This is just like America then, where your tax is added at checkout. And Americans are just used to this. You just assume the total amount you will need is a couple dollars more or a couple cents more. It just depends on how big your purchase is.
let me give you an example. The display price on this bottle could be $5. But because of the GST and other taxes, the price will escalate to $7.
Wow, would it be that much? From 5 to 7? That would shock me. Even being, I'm aware of tax. And that would scare me. I'd be like, hey, what's going on here? That's like 35% tax or something? Going from 5 to 7? Is that correct?
A 5% GST is applicable to all transactions in Canada with the exemption on basic food. So remember, when you're a newcomer here in Canada, the end price will be higher than what you would expect.
I think, yeah. This is honestly, like I was saying at the beginning, where it's a culture shock that I wouldn't even have thought of because I am part of a culture that has this. So that's interesting.
When you're doing your budget planning, be sure to ask a final quoted price that includes taxes and all applicable fees to
Yeah.
avoid unpleasant surprise.
It's a good tip.
Oh, by the way, I'm going to include a link below about taxes in Canada, so make sure to check it out.
I'm thinking taxes probably work slightly different in Canada. I don't know if I'm getting the whole picture here, but there's obviously mostly similarities between sales tax and its existence.
Shock number 2, the weather.
The weather? The weather? It's cold? I watched another video about Canada misconceptions that was telling me it's not always cold. It's just something that people think Canada is always cold, or maybe it depends on the region you're in, you know. But what I'm curious what he thinks the shock is in regards to weather.
Canadian winter can be very brutal and
Oh, that's one thing. That the winter it's not that just that there is winter. It's that it is extreme. It's cold. Colder than Americans are used to. So they'd be like, oh yeah, I'm used to snow. I'm used to winter. No big deal, man. And then they'd go and be like, holy crap. This is extreme winter. This is Canadian winter.
can take you months or forever to get used to it. This country can get really cold. And by cold, I don't mean -5 degrees Celsius. I'm talking about
-5 Celsius. What is that? -5 Celsius is 23 Fahrenheit. Holy, that's cold. Canada gets colder than that?
-40 degrees.
What? -40 Celsius? I'm scared. Oh, that's where it... This is the temperature where Celsius and Fahrenheit are equal. Okay. It's been a while since science. -40? Oh my god, I would pass away. I could not survive. Oh my god.
Look. Snow everywhere.
Yes.
When I came to Canada, I had no idea that this country can get as cold as -40 degrees. So coming from
I didn't know that.
Africa where everything's warm, this was a big shock.
Oh, he's from Africa. And I'm pretty sure it's, in general, a pretty warm or hot climate in Africa. African countries. So the culture shock for him going from Africa to Canada is probably even greater than it would be from going from America to Canada, and I'm already scared. So, so,
When it snows in Canada, it snows the entire day and it can take several months. Take a look.
what?
Canadian news.
Yeah, Americans are very, they're like, snow is so uncommon in America that Americans are just like, think snow is this fun, novel thing. Like, oh, it's snowing out. That's so fun and beautiful. And then we run inside immediately. We're like, okay, we've admired the beauty for a moment, and now it's kind of cold out, so that's enough for this year. Yeah, I think it would be difficult for an American to acclimate to Canadian winter.
News outlets always get so excited when winter weather hits. This week, they had multiple snowgasms.
Newfoundland braces for a blizzard 70 centimeters as the west coast digs out and the prairies freeze.
Oh,
My
man.
advice to you is always check the weather forecast.
Americans are so bad at driving in the snow, too. Because of this, oh my gosh, I just thought of this. Because there's not much snow in America, and it's pretty short season, if there's any snow at all, Americans have no clue how to drive on it, and it is chaos. It is madness. It is run for it if you're in snowy America and people are driving.
Before you head out. Sometimes extreme weather warnings are issued by the government advising you to stay inside. You can
Wow, advising you to stay inside because it's too cold? That's never happened in America ever. That would be it'd be like we've had extreme heat warnings, not extreme cold. Never.
always check the weather on the radio or TV on your phone. Actually, I will leave the app that I use for my weather forecast in the description below. But I have to admit, seeing snowfall is an amazing experience.
Yeah, that's the thing. Especially if you haven't seen it before. It's probably magical. It's still pretty magical experience for Americans. That's the fun thing. I think America gets like the perfect amount of snow, where for 90% of the year nothing, then it gets cold, and then maybe in the winter it snows. And it's so uncommon. You're like, this is annoying, but it's fun at the same time.
Shock number 3, camping.
Camping? Camping as a shock? Do Canadians love to camp? Americans like to camp. Somewhat. I don't know what to think about this.
Yo, when you're new here, the idea of camping may sound crazy.
Wait, the idea of camping? Maybe this is just his personal experience, because he comes from an African country. Coming from America, I wouldn't think camping is weird. It's not something I do. It's not something Americans do commonly, but we're common enough where people would be like, oh, you're going camping. That's cool. That's different. But we wouldn't be like shocked. Like we couldn't wrap our head around it,
Driving and hiking in the middle of nowhere. Can you imagine sleeping in the lightweight tent that could easily fly away?
Yeah, that's part of the fun.
Getting eaten live by mosquitoes and exposing yourself to bears?
Getting eaten alive by mosquitoes and bears. Yeah, I mean, that's part of the fun. The threat of death. No one goes camping expecting the threat of death, but a little discomfort is part of it. It's part of the fun.
No internet, no running water, no comfort bed.
I mean, we have our cell phones now, so if there was ever a point in time where no internet was part of the fun, that's gone. Now you can just whip your phone out. You're in the middle of nowhere camping, supposed to be in touch with nature. Americans desperately need that. And then they can just whip out their cell phone and be back in the modern day.
In Africa, if you find yourself trapped in the middle of nowhere, you describe that situation as a nightmare. Here, that situation will be camping.
That's funny. Wow, this is a much bigger culture shock for him, because it's just a totally different culture, totally different circumstance. That's really interesting, actually.
Yeah, I've seen movies where black people go for camping and they never come back. But at the end of the day,
right, it is kind of a trope in movies.
I really enjoyed camping, and this is something that I will keep doing. Shock number 4.
Yeah, is he enjoying camping? Have you given it a try? It's kind of fun when nothing bad happens.
Sorry.
Sorry. Americans do think Canadians are extremely polite, and that they do say the word sorry or sorry, if I can say it correctly. Sorry. It's a little different pronunciation, accent, the Canadian accent. I don't think the Canadian accent is all that different from American, but there are words like sorry and about that are different. So I think he's more referring to the fact that Canadians say the word sorry more often than other nations, possibly.
Canadians say the word sorry a lot.
They say it a lot, okay.
And by a lot, I mean way too much.
Too much. Is there such a thing as being too polite? Come on, can you be too polite?
So if you don't say sorry, you'll be sorry.
If you don't, okay.
Much as you will expect to hear a lot of sorries here in Canada, don't even feel like they're apologizing to you. Saying sorry isn't always an apology here in Canada.
Oh, this is a good observation by him. That, yeah, once you're in the culture long enough, that makes sense. You start to understand saying sorry doesn't necessarily mean this heartfelt apology. It could just be kind of a filler word, kind of just a pleasantry or a polite thing to say. I'm sure he has more insight on it.
It's just being polite. Sorry.
He's just look, he's starting to use it, although it didn't make complete sense in that circumstance. But it sounds so nice, right? Yeah, I could see just throwing it in to be extra polite.
Canadians are known to be very nice people and
Yeah.
super friendly.
Yeah.
Shock number 5, your credentials and work history.
Foreign credentials and work history. So this is a culture shock. I don't know what exactly he's going to talk about in terms with this. This sounds like something where you need to be moving to Canada and seeking employment or citizenship to understand the culture shock of this.
Resuming your professional career in Canada is likely to be the biggest challenge you will face when you're moving here in
Really?
Canada.
Really?
Sorry guys, it was freezing outside.
A culture shock number 3 or 2 or what was it? The cold is affecting his video.
That's why I've decided to shoot the rest of this video in my car. So
Okay.
anyways, if you're from Africa, Asia and some part of Europe, having your credentials recognized here in Canadian marketplace is going to be difficult.
Wow.
So I strongly
I didn't know about this.
suggest that you bring as much documents as possible.
Okay.
If-
Well, I imagine seeking full-time employment in a completely different nation that you're not a citizen of would have a lot of logistics to it in any nation on Earth. So this probably is not just unique to Canada.
If you work in a highly specialized field, like medical field, it could literally take you years to
Whoa.
be licensed to practice in.
What? See, that's a problem, like a logistics problem, where if it's taking people who are moving to Canada years to gain a license to practice, that probably means there's a problem with the system.
Canada. We have people who have been lawyers back home, but here they're driving Ubers. Sadly.
What? Yeah, that is sad. That actually is really sad. That people can't do the profession that they have practiced in their home country quickly. I'm sure that can happen, not just in Canada, though. It's just a unfortunate side effect of bad logistics and paperwork taking forever and all that annoying stuff.
Now, here's the good news. Canada has some bridging programs that can help you gain employment in your field, and they're fully funded by the government.
Oh,
I hope you guys enjoyed this video and found it very helpful.
I
If
did.
you did, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to
I will. I did enjoy this a lot. Ben, I don't know how to pronounce your last name. Suranayago? Something like that. I enjoyed your video a lot. Definitely deserves a thumbs up. Wow. This was good. And I think the reason this video was so entertaining was because Ben here was from an African country. He was really experiencing extra culture shock. An American moving to Canada, there's a lot of differences. I've seen a lot of differences, and a lot of the reactions I've gone through already. I've seen all the differences. There's tons, but I'm an American, and I at least speak the language. There's a lot of similarities and things I can understand very quickly. But coming from where Ben has come from in this video we just watched, that's culture shock. It'd be the equivalent of anyone from Canada in America moving to an African country and seeking employment and trying to rearrange their whole life in another continent. So that's extreme, which made this video extremely interesting because of the things he chose to identify. The climate, the difficulty in reapplying for his work, that Canadians are polite and say sorry. That's such a good culture shock. That's such a good thing to have to say, because that's one of the only things you can point to, that Canadians are so polite. That's a major difference. That's a good sign for Canada, right? Yeah, I really enjoyed this. These were very interesting points of view. So anyway, if you enjoyed this video, feel free to give it a like or leave a comment. And if you're interested in more videos like this, me reacting to Canadian culture, Canadian things, news, events, stuff I've never seen, feel free to subscribe for more. And until then, thanks for watching, and see you next time.